in the presence of other kinds of animals or in the presence of people's own children. A lot of people have said they've had this sort of magical heart awakening that happens.
Is like, what is the root of cognitive dissonance, having cognitive dissonance and not caring about that, or the human trafficking that's going on in the world with such high numbers. And so I guess a follow-up question is just something that I struggle with dealing with things like this is, what do we do as an individual to create the solution? Like if I'm not aware there's a problem, right, I can't create a solution for it. Kind of stick your head in the sand. But some people say, you just focus on what you want, so you don't really look into that. And I don't really buy into that fully, because then I'm not creating a solution. I feel like one of the best answers I've heard was from a guest I've had on recently. I can't remember his name, Will. Apologies, Will, but Will something. And he basically said, be aware of it, but don't wear it. So be aware of that suffering and create a solution, but don't wear it. And I feel like the people who are a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more empathetic, they tend to wear it, especially when they see it like, oh my goodness, what can I do? I can't end starvation for everybody. I'm going to end starvation for one person. And so I'm just curious if you can speak on the emotional element or what we can do to actually affect these positive changes.
I think first it starts with coming to an acceptance within yourself that you're alive. And you start by, looking in the mirror and recognizing that you are part and parcel of the universe, not just a thing that's happening here. And, self-awareness is an unbelievable gift. And I consider every single human a true miracle, whether they're a good person or a bad person. There's no duplicate copy of them in the entire universe. And so I think every single person is a miracle, and every single person is a change maker. You make change just literally by what you do. Every single thing you say is the first time you say it. Every single breath you take is the first time you take that breath, and you'll never take it again. Every action you make is an action that you'll never do again. And it's the nature of just how the universe fundamentally works. And so at some point, we collectively have to wake up. And you don't wake up through a mass awakening like it's spoken about in other kinds of mythologies. People wake up when they're ready to. And so the first thing is you got to be willing to take a look at the world for what it is in the moment that you decide to wake up. It's like same thing when you get born. You're in the womb of the belly, and then I believe you become born to the womb of the earth. And at some point you open your eyes and you look around you and you say, holy cow, this is the earth I'm really living in, not the one that's in here that I'm making up inside my head that's being propagandized and filled with a whole bunch of misinformation. Like, wait, I'm living in the world that's being propagandized, filled with a whole bunch of misinformation. And I got to wake up to that and deal with it. And then I have to face this thing called the heart, because the heart freaks out at that moment. The brain will spaz. The brain will, completely lose it in the face of what it's going to see. And it's, you said words, you just tossed them out there. And to me, they make me want to cringe, like human trafficking. No, that's slavery. Like, hello. I thought we all agreed to abolish that. No, it's at record numbers. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. And so, through this idea that you can whitewash language and just change the name of the category of it, and then people are all going to forget about it through some kind of, blinding that's put on us. Ultimately, people wake up from that, and you have to be able to realize it and look at it and say, yeah, that's really happening. And then the heart has to come into play, because otherwise the brain mind will get scared and freak out. And so you got to do a lot of work on the heart. And we've just done very little work on it as a collective. We spend a lot of time training the brain. We've spent a lot of time in, the most recent part of our evolution, going to school to train this tool. And we've left the heart out, and the heart has more importance in the mystical aspects of us and in the supernatural, spiritual, energetic, natural expressions of us more than just beating blood. It's not just pumping blood and having kind of a mechanical, physical nature. And people know that when it sort of magically turns on, and it happens in spiritual awakenings, and it happens in different kinds of romantic situations, or in the presence of other kinds of animals, or in the presence of people's own children. A lot of people have said they've had this sort of magical heart awakening that happens. And so that has to become part of our everyday life, that this organ and this stability from within can handle this intensity of things like human trafficking and starvation and, disease and stuff that's happening all around the world.